Hi, this is Ben McClintock from defendingutah.org, and you are about to hear the first real inside story on what is really going on with COVID. Brave medical whistleblowers have decided to come forward so that the public can know the truth. You will not hear this firsthand evidence anywhere else, and the most shocking thing is that this is just the first report. Follow us to get the rest of these bombshell reports the moment they're released.
Yeah, I have worked in the medical field for over 30 years, all in Utah, mostly intensive care, but and in all areas of intensive care. Every time I'm there, basically every day something is changing. Some new policy, some new
Is that a mandate or is that coming from?
mandates from the company that we as nurses need to follow,
Yeah.
and many of them don't make any medical sense, and they don't have sound. There's no. They're not using evidence. They're not using any. Every time I'm there, I find out something new, and it just blows my mind that such rational, educated people are acting in such an irrational way, and harm is being done. Care of patients, real quality care, nursing care, and medical care of patients who have nothing to do with this COVID, who are there for, is being compromised. 100%.
Wow.
We all know it. All of the nurses, all the doctors know it. But our hands are tied. You speak reason and you try and reason, and basically what it is do what you're told. Act, react, don't stop and think about this logically, just do. And that's basically what is happening. It is not based on sound medical logic. It's not. There's nothing. It's all what if. What if this is Ebola, multiplied by 100?
Right.
What if this is worse than any? And it's not. It honestly is not. And the epidemiologists and the experienced medical people, people who have medical background know this, but they are being silenced.
So you're saying that there's an environment in the hospital where everybody knows something's not right. I'm trying to summarize and you tell me if this is accurate, okay? Repeating it back. Everybody knows something's not right, and the pressure coming from the top, don't think, just react. Don't think, don't question too hard because this is important. This is an emergency. What if? And so there's a sense of panic and urgency that is making otherwise professionals just throw logic out the window and follow orders. Is that right?
Absolutely. I think that's a great summary of what is happening. One thing that you need to understand about patients who expire in a hospital is that usually there are many, many reasons why a patient that contributes to their death. Usually, in most cases, the doctors on the death certificate only put the main contributing factor. So if someone came in with brain cancer or a bleed or some kind of terminal thing, and then that led eventually to respiratory failure, and that's how they passed away. What gets put on the medical record is totally up to the doctor's discretion. And a lot of times they don't think about it until they're just filling out the certificate. And what people are not getting, the information, which I know from this experience of having patients expire in the hospital a lot, is there is pressure right now in the medical community to, even if that patient has a positive, or if they don't, there are people who are rule out COVIDs right now which is what the majority of the patients in Utah hospitals are right now. And I haven't followed around the country as much, but rule out COVID. You basically treat the patient as if they have it until you find out that they don't. And that is where the insanity is taking place, where a doctor who is overworked and trying to deal with multiple things at the time, you bring the death certificate of a person and say, hey, what do you want to put down as cause of death? Usually that's just, and they have guidelines that they need to follow in that as well. But sometimes I don't think they're doing anything, sinister with it. But I do know that there is a push, and I don't know if it's coming from administration or where it's coming from the World Health Organization, the CDC. I don't know, that if a patient dies, if they are COVID positive, you put COVID as the cause of death.
Facts and full disclosure of data is either being manipulated or ignored. And then you said that the majority of people dying from COVID have comorbidities, terminal, and one patient that died of COVID was reported by the media to be over 60, but the person was 98, so like 40 years older than what they said.
I think that the HIPAA rules are being manipulated, are being used to the advantage of those who want to not disclose information that would actually make people more at ease and go, oh, this person was a brittle diabetic. Oh, they had obese, all these other things. There was a patient who passed away in a nursing home under hospice care, which means you're basically you're dying because they had I don't know how they ended up getting a COVID test. That's bizarre that you would do that on a hospice patient, but they would get a COVID test positive. That person didn't die of their terminal disease. They died of COVID. This is what is happening. That's the issue, is our hands are tied. We can't disclose this information to the media. We can't disclose this technically to anyone, or you're breaking federal law. So in there lies the problem as well.
As a whole, nurses and doctors, they're just not free to say what's going on.
You're prevented legally from being whistleblowers.
Yes, and people are saying, what are the facts? You're going, well, I cannot tell you facts because under law, I'm required not to. And so it's a tough situation to try and wake people up, because they want to hear exactly why you're saying what you're saying, but you can't tell.
Just in general, if it were not this situation and official guidance from the federal government said, do this, something that was really bad, under normal conditions, would their thinking side kick in and say, well, this violates my Hippocratic oath to do no harm? Would that normally be the culture?
Yes.
Of we can't follow that no matter what the guidance says? And
absolutely, it would be. And I think, and the thing to remember is that each practitioner, even though that you have two entities that you're operating under, one is your own personal license, where you as a nurse have the right, and you as a physician have the right to say, I will not do what I'm being asked because it is doing harm. You have the legal right to refuse. But there's a different set of rules when you work for a facility or an entity. You also agree that if you follow their rules and harm occurs, that you are not held personally responsible. But there's the gray area in between, that if the company did ask you, or a doctor did ask you to do something that you felt was unsafe or would do harm to your patient, even though it is within the guidelines, you still have the responsibility to refuse it. N95 masks are safe to be reused. The answer is no, they are not. We are being asked, you must reuse your N95. I just got an email daily. You must reuse your N95 mask, the same one, over and over and over in multiple patients' rooms. It's not safe. It's not protocol. It is not what these N95 masks are used for. We are being asked to rewash equipment that should be single use currently as of yesterday. So we as nurses are being asked to do things that are not safe per se.
Not safe for you or not safe for the other patients?
Both. Both. All preventative care at this moment is shut down. No one is getting preventative care. Dental, medical, and everything is geared around if you have an emergency. I did hear a conversation of two cardiologists basically saying there are probably a lot of people who are just staying home and having silent heart attacks in their home. They're experiencing symptoms, but they don't want to call an ambulance. They're not allowed to go into an Instacare, so they're just opting to stay home. This whole crisis, it's not even a crisis in my mind, but
Manufactured crisis.
yes, what is happening is and the other issue is organ donation. I don't know if you've researched or looked into this at all, but donor services they have been nearly completely shut down at this point in placing organs for the list.
So this is getting into what you're saying of how this is actually costing more lives because A, preventative care, and B, we're not doing, life-saving organ transplants.
Absolutely. It has been shut down, and these are beautiful, healthy organs. People could have used them.
All the hype that's going on about this, is it as dangerous as everybody's saying? What's the real data showing us?
This is where it's very difficult, and I don't know that anyone can get the true data. I think the true data is hidden because the people, and what one factor of that is that the inconsistency of the testing. I was reading one night all of the patents that were being submitted for the different different testing machines for approval, and they all did it in a completely different way. I know that, and as the lab worker said, you don't know for sure. You can't say 100% positive that if their test comes back. Some are being sent out to facilities. Some of them are done in facility, and every one of these are not uniform testing. So there you've got that issue. Then you've got that comorbidities are not being taken into account. They're not being reported. And so, and then you can say there are COVID patients being admitted for COVID, but they're considered kind of COVID until it's ruled out. Once they're ruled out, they don't say, oh, never mind, scratch that number. The number stays. I can't tolerate the dishonesty and the lack of integrity and the giving in to the emotional side of it. We're acting as if everyone has end stage AIDS. We have an immune system that is constantly being bombarded by invaders that our body just takes care of it and we don't skip a beat.
Like if this was how they responded to everything all the time.
Oh, you'd be in a constant state of hysteria. It'd be basically like you were running an end-stage AIDS ward or a leukemia ward, or that every one of your patients is a bone marrow transplant patient. It's insanity.
Mm-hmm.
They're treating every single staff member and patient as if they have no intact immune system. Us wearing PPE and isolating everyone is the number one thing that's going to stop people from getting this.
Right. So the one thing that could help, they're not doing.
They're not facing it with rationality. There's no ration. I don't hear anyone saying, "Hey, do this to strengthen your immune system." Get outside, get sunshine, eat healthy food, any of your unhealthy habits that stress. Here's the thing. Stress is one of the top producing, when you produce cortisol in your body and you get this stress response, your immune system is weakened. This stress response is weakening the thing that they use to fight this, the fear. I think it's fear of the unknown. It's taking advantage of uneducated people who do not understand how their bodies work and do not understand the physiology of the amazing immune response that your body produces.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't understand the basic concepts of freedom and liberty. And this is just a prime, this field is prime. This is the prime environment and situation for people to come in and take control. And it is just, I don't want to use it is, of course, the religious reference, the field is white. I'm like, this field is, the population right now is prime to be subject to tyranny. And what can I do about it personally? I can do something like this. I can voice my opinion.
Thank you for listening to today's interview with our first whistleblower. And please stay tuned. Make sure you're getting updates from our website. You go to defendingutah.org and you make sure that you're getting these updates so that when we have the new whistleblower interview come out, that you'll know immediately. Also, if you're subscribing to our YouTube channel, you'll know immediately, as well as if you have the Defending Utah app on your phone, on your smartphone, on your Android device, or through whatever podcast app that you have. We're on virtually all of them, if not all of them. And just subscribe so that when the new one comes up, you'll know immediately and you'll be able to listen and share with your friends and family. Again, we can't do this without you. We need your help more than ever. Please go to defendingutah.org, click on the membership tab, become a member today. Also, go to Amazon.com and pick up the Liberty books that will help you understand these principles, share, and help others learn these principles by going to Amazon.com, typing in Defending Utah, picking up our great edition of The Proper Rule of Government or The Moral Basis of a Free Society. Great books for you to be able to help yourself and others understand liberty. Until next time, I'm Ben McClintock from defendingutah.org.